from day one, we thought that we'd eventually get Batgirl into the show.
There was some, oh no, why does it have to be a Batgirl? Many more people were curious to see how we'd approach it.
Girl audience. There's a big part of Batman lore going back to the comics and the TV show and the serials, and that included Robin. And another big part of the Batman mythos was, you know, Batgirl.
There's always been a basic appeal factor of Batgirl. We always liked the character, and it was just a matter of integrating her.
She's had many different incarnations, from being Commissioner Gordon's niece to being his daughter, and eventually ended up being wheelchair-bound and the computer genius and character called Oracle.
Touchdown.
Looking back at all the different previous versions of the character from the comics and the TV shows and what have you, and, you know, I'm picking and choosing elements of the characters that we liked and kind of smushing them all together and create, you know, the Batman the Animated Series version of that character.
Dad, you in here?
The version of Batgirl that always worked best for us was Commissioner Gordon's daughter, because that made it a little bit more of a family. There was a direct link there.
She's basically based on the previous looks from the comics and the TV show. Of course, we did want to put our own spin on it. In the comics, her costume was black. In the TV show, it was like a dark, dark purple. We figured she would, you know, make it as much like Batman's as possible, so she would make it dark gray, like his costume, but she would, like, swap out the black on the leather parts for blue, just because it's girlier. When we later on did what we call the revamp episodes, we took that opportunity to go back and tweak her design a bit and actually put her in the black costume just because it looks better.
I think it was much more like the character herself, sort of evolved, so her visual look sort of paralleled her emotional development as well.
The way that the animated series handled her so successfully is by introducing her slowly as the daughter of the commissioner, not just having her first appearance be the first appearance of Batgirl, which made fans like myself just anticipate, like, man, when is she going to become Batgirl?
We actually got a chance with the Heart of Steel episodes to give a little foreshadowing of her intelligence and her pluck and where she could go, and it was pretty cool. It was a good setup.
What am I gonna do? There's nobody I can trust.
What we wanted was a reason for her to become Batgirl, as opposed to, say, you know, Weasel Woman or something like that. And so we gave her a reason to dress up in the Bat costume.
The public respects you. If they see you there, they'll know Dad's innocent.
Sorry. When she puts on the Batgirl costume, she realizes that having the Batgirl persona actually is a plus for the mission that she has to do.
Initially, she's a fan that dons a costume, but comes into her own, entirely independent. She's not raised by him or influenced by him in any direct way, except by being this mythic character.
She has seen his heroism and wants to emulate that, and despite the obviousness of her red hair, she puts on a costume that allows her to go out there and create her own identity as an adjunct to this famous superhero in Gotham.
In the original animated series, she never became a full-time member of the group. She wasn't a part of the team, so to speak. She was more of a freelancer, I think.
I may not have a diploma from crime fighting school, but I can do fine on my own, thanks.
She's very capable, but on the other hand, she is new at this, and Batman has had years of training and experience, and he knows exactly what to do, where it may take Batgirl a second or two to figure out, oh man, I'm over my head, you know, how the heck do I get out of it?
Don't worry, you pretty little head.
One of the things that we really didn't want to do with the character that we knew right off the bat was that one of the things that always bugged me about Batgirl on the old Adam West show, she was never allowed to hit anybody. She always like stood on a table and did these little dainty kicks at the villains, you know? She was never allowed to just slug the villain, you know? So we wanted to make sure that she was fully athletic, and again, being the daughter of a cop, you know, she would have taken self-defense courses and stuff. So she's just as much a brawler as you know, the two boys.
We never made a conscious decision to only pair up Batgirl with female villains. In her early appearances, you know, she's taken on the big boys. She goes up against Two-Face, and she goes up against big city corruption and a smear campaign against her father. There's that great scene on the boat where she, you know, faces off against the guy and takes him down on her first case. We had her go up against Scarecrow. We had her go up against a number of villains.
Yes. Am I glad to see you?
Do you mind?
At first, I don't think Batman particularly welcomed her presence.
It takes more than a costume and an attitude to do this work.
She was the girl on the outside who kind of wanted to play with the boys, and the boys were kind of like going, no girls allowed in our club.
Run along home now.
Where she does not have necessarily the same driving force in her background that Bruce has that keeps him out on the streets every night. She does have a sense of adventure and a dedication to preserving the common good, and he respects that, and so he came to allow her along. Batman trusted her as an ally, if not an equal.
In the first Batman the Animated Series, we tried to keep Batman a loner as much as possible, but a lot of the New Adventures of Batman wasn't just a revamped look. We kind of wanted to take a look at the entire thing and say, okay, what could we do differently that we didn't do last time? So we pretty quickly, brought her right into the Batcave and had her officially join the team.
Miss me?
We had hinted that there was going to be a relationship between her and Dick Grayson, but by the time we had approached the 4th season, Dick had evolved into a different character and a darker character. When he came back as Nightwing, the relationship that he had with Barbara had changed.
I thought it'd be much more interesting if Batgirl had a crush on Batman.
We even suggested that they had a relationship and, said as much in the later episodes and in Batman Beyond.
And of course the fans are all going, oh, that's just so wrong. And it's like, well, that's why we did it. Because it's more interesting. It's like, yeah, it is wrong. It's meant to be wrong.
Batgirl, what's next?
She seemed to be favorably received by the fans. I think people really liked the character.
What's he saying? Dork.
Clearly, Batgirl's a much more lighthearted character. She's fun, she's got big red hair hanging out of her costume, and, how angry could she be?
Nice guy, but a few bats short of a belfry.
With Batgirl, you get a lot of the audience's wish fulfillment that they could be a part of the Batman universe.
I'm sure I'll catch you again.